Beautiful soul, welcome to my channel. This is our end of days, and that's a DAZE. As usual, just one continuous streaming footage, no edits here, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I just wanted to get something out here really quick. There's, something going on, and I know that I came here for a reason. I'm talking about Hawaii, and I believe that God has placed me in this situation for a reason too. And I know that I'm this basically like an outsider, and I seem, kind of alien to the environment. If I'm going to be completely honest, and I get it. I very much get it, and I apologize for this. If you see this right here, it's the. We'll try to fix it here a little bit. There we go. Right, it's the umbrella, you guys. If in case you were wondering. Still super windy, like it is every day, and so if it shakes a bit, it is what it is. And I'm steadying the camera there with my hand. It's just something else, you guys. And like I said in one of my previous videos, I I truly believe that we're all in this together. All right, yeah, we have to be out for oneself. All right, we very much have to be, and that doesn't have to mean that we're competing even with other people. I'm not necessarily against competition in like a friendly sense, but if you ask me, competition's been taken to an extreme route. Rather than see it as a way for one to improve oneself, it's turned into kind of a situation where it's like to be better than someone else. And then that comparison is like a validation for us. And the biggest problem that I see with having that as the form of validation is it means we're in constant competition. And that unless we are, and then we're also constantly in comparison with other people. And at least from my experience, it's just exhausting. It's just completely exhausting, and it doesn't have to be that way. This is why I say, truth and love, you guys. I know it sounds hippie-esque, but it's through God. And then with having this personal relationship with God, we're able to see that we're not really competing against other people. We're competing against ourselves. Um, and so I very much see that. Like, I just want to say that I see that. And I have a particular way of operating. And I believe that I have something to really truly offer other people. Um, and I would say just people in general. All right, anybody who's suffering, anybody who's in scarcity or lack, which might sound surprising coming from me, but it's just like, in a very real way, God put me in these circumstances not to show my lack of abundance, but to show my abundance. And I mean that. All right, like every step of this, even after losing, my entire savings, it's allowed me the process to challenge previous perceptions of lack, and I've felt it too, you guys, where it's just like I'm so blessed. I'm holding this still, just a big gust of wind. I'm so blessed, and it's because I can feel so blessed in the small things. Um, Even just having enough to eat for the day, even just having at this point, just enough rent to cover my storage unit, um, which has been a godsend in itself. Absolutely. Um, and there's just so many different things, and I've been protected. I've very much been protected. Uh, and in my somewhat most previous videos, I talked about kind of being isolated, choosing isolation from some of the homeless population here in this locality, and it's like I basically said then I don't want that. I really do care about the people that I meet and about everybody. But it's also this double sided issue in this coin where if people are attempting to steal from me, if they're attempting to deceive me, I don't want anything to do with that. And if I find out that people are doing that either behind the scenes or I just get a vibe like somebody is, I'm just going to sever ties. Is like what it's at. Um, and I have no issue doing that. You know, I think I surprise some people with my ability to disconnect. And, you know, like I like to say, it is what it is, you guys. Sometimes we got to be alone. And I also don't want to project that into the outside world, per se. There's a bird walking by me. Because I have to do my own healing as well. And I don't want to say, everybody here is out to get me and, come from a place of paranoia. It's true, that I'm, not look at my skin color, look at my voice or hear my voice. I don't sound local. I don't look local. And I think it's okay to test me, in that way, especially coming initially. As long as this test isn't about stealing from me, about cheating me, all right? Like, you wouldn't cheat yourself, all right? So don't cheat me. And that's, basically where I stand. And if anything, it's just like my view of things. I'm very much for myself, all right? Very much so. But as I've explained on my channel before, the illusion of the paradigm of being either service to self or service to others is what it is. It's an illusion. And maybe it's a starting point, but that's all that it is. All right. If one is truly service to self and they take it all the way, what they end up seeing is that being of service to others is being of service to self. And from the opposite perspective, that's also true. If we truly wish to be of service to others, we have to be service to self too. We have to serve ourselves. Otherwise, we just become doormats. All right. And in taking care of oneself and serving oneself, we can actually be in a stable position and ground to help other people. And so I think that polarity is just, it's maybe a starting ground. All right. Um, and I would say it's irrelevant. If I was going to compare my view of things to some of the other gamers out there, it's a somewhat, not, I wouldn't say super obscure, but somewhat obscure RPG out there that was called Tales of Symphonia. And I'm going to spoil the plot. So if anybody is, spoiler alert here. If you want to play the game, you can skip the rest of this, I guess. Just know that what I'm saying is that sometimes the choice is a lot more simple than what we make it. All right. And so, with the spoiler alerts, all right, I'm going to start talking about it now. The main character's name is Lloyd Irving. And, energetic teenager. Most of the RPGs, I don't know why they're always teenagers. It's like the main character or something. But there's a lot of side characters who are older and everything. And it's a great RPG. It's very well written. And actually really playable too. The gameplay is pretty fun. The sequel, I never played it myself, but I heard kind of questionable things about it, but that's another story. But back to this particular story. So in Tales of Symphonia, like I said, spoiler alert here, you begin to learn through playing the game that there's this one world, and it goes through a cycle of almost like death and tyranny and destruction. And then it goes through a period of abundance. And it's brought in by the Chosen One. All right. But as we play the game, we start to realize that due to circumstances in the past, I'm going to say due to trauma in the past, there wasn't enough energy in order to support this world entirely. And so the world was split into half and became two different worlds. And those worlds had to trade off. So while one was flourishing and abundant, the other one had to be in scarcity. And it looked like this was just going to be the way that it was. There was no way to change it. But Lloyd believed, like truly believed, that he didn't, as he found out about this, he didn't just want to have his own world flourish. He wanted both worlds to flourish. he saw a greater whole in the whole situation. And so his stance when going against the way that things are, or the current structure, right, of things, was I'm not I'm not for one world and against the other, and I'm not for this paradigm. All right, I am for both worlds. I am fighting for the livelihood and the well-being of both worlds. And this is what I agree with. This is my stance in that whole situation. I identified so much with Lloyd in this particular story, and so this is what I mean. All right, this is my stance with everything, and I think that a lot of we have both sides to take into account. All right, and that both sides have been abused is the best way to put it. If we're gonna go from a typical point, the masculine energetic side and the feminine energetic side. Okay, this is from people who walked the right hand path or the left hand path. If you're going to go into that kind of language, where I like to say, and it's the irony or the poeticism is not lost on me in this case. But I'm ambidextrous, all right? Let me use both hands, all right? I'll use my right hand and I'll use my left hand. And, right, guess what? They work together. But guess what? In order to do this handshake, because they can't do the handshake, one of them has to be upside down. And then if one of them's upside down, we can shake our own hand, all right? I call it the chiral handshake. But that's that's for a different video. I can get into a whole bunch of stuff about chirality as well. If you want to look it up, go ahead. But yeah, and so regardless of what path we start on, whether it's the path of service to self, whether it's the path of service to other, when we take it fully, all right, when we take either side and we take it fully, we start to see that we need to incorporate the other side in order to be in a place of well-being. And like I said, it's the poeticism isn't lost on me in so much as Lloyd, he wields two swords. He uses both hands. All right. And so, yeah. And the and the final blade that he gets, which isn't the most powerful because there's secret blades that he can get, because he's a sword wielder. But the final typical blade that he gets is called the material blade. And he basically has two fathers. And one of them is his birth father, and the other one is like his adopted father. And he grew to peace and absorbed the lessons of both. And they both had their faults, and they both had their strengths. And yeah, and so he wields one flaming sword and one icy sword. And this is what I think is the legacy for all of us, for being a human being, for being a soul, all right, a soul of God, where this polarity, this apparent duality is not what it seems. And that when we integrate this shadow self, when we integrate our wounded child and we nurture it and we help educate it and learn into a way where it is in alignment with our being, and its needs are getting met, then that's where truth and love exist, man. This is where neither world has to be in scarcity anymore, that we can flourish as one whole world, as one whole being. And that's my stance, you guys, for sure. All right. And so I'll leave it there for this particular video. Love you guys. Thanks for your support with me. Like I like to try to explain in every video, the world where there's split into two, and one's in scarcity and one's flourishing. This is what we were born into. All right. The unflipped world. All right. But just like Lloyd, all right, who didn't pick a side, he picked both. And he picked both with the intention coming from a pure heart. And that is where it's at, man. All right. That is the truth. All right. And because it is for his benefit, but it's also for the benefit of his teammates. It's for the benefit of the people that he meets. It's for the benefit of all. And that's what I mean, it's just a simple choice. And when we flip the whole script on its head, That's the flip side that I'm talking about when in my parting, where it's just like on the flip side, we all flourish, we all benefit, we're all on friendly terms, even if people go their own path. We don't have to join them. We can either watch from a distance or just part ways, and it doesn't have to be this poisonous, humiliation, degradation kind of a situation. Um, and for some of us, we've had to encounter that in order to heal that. But that's a story for another time. So that's what I mean by that. All right. The flip side is the right side up, is the healed whole world. So there we go. All right. So peace out. Love within. I'll catch you guys on the flip side as you catch me.